Welcome back to another edition of the Bachelorette Review, Becca's season, episode 4. I'm your host. My name is Brent Baum, and I'm not only your favorite contrarian, I'm the only contrarian. I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. And welcome back to Final Roses, and let's get right into this. So, from the beginning, just leading up to the rose ceremony, another rose ceremony, but before that, David just makes his heroic comeback after falling off the bunk bed. All the guys are very excited, except for one person, and that is Jordan. Clearly, Jordan and David continue to have this dichotomy where they just despise each other. They keep throwing jokes here and there. Jordan made a pretty funny joke talking about, oh, the chicken crossed the road, got hit by a bus, and now he's back. So that dynamic continues to crack me up. I thought it was hilarious how Becca supplied Jordan with some golden short briefs. I thought that was really funny, fitting for Jordan. I mean, this guy thinks he is the golden boy. He's the greatest thing since the egg white omelet. He's just so in love with himself, even though this show is about Becca. But Jordan makes a show about him. It wouldn't be a show without making a show about Jordan. So with the rose ceremony, got down to towards the end, John Blanc. John Blanc was the last one to receive a rose, so you don't know what's going on. Obviously, the momentum that John Blanc and Becca had earlier on is starting to go downhill. And as we saw in this episode, which I will get into later on, about how much they lost, how much momentum they lost. And the thing is, with this rose ceremony, I feel like when you're at this rose ceremony, I just don't understand why Nick, he came in there with a tracksuit. He acknowledged he came in with a tracksuit, but to me, for this rose ceremony, you gotta dress up. You gotta put on a nice suit. You gotta get a pocket square, a little lapel. You gotta match your tie. You gotta get everything going together. You need to coordinate everything. And I know now I sound like Jordan, but you still gotta put on a decent suit. You gotta take yourself to Banana Republic. It's very easy. That's all you need to do. But he couldn't even do that. He had to wear a tracksuit. But he survived it. He survived the first rose ceremony of the night. So after that, you saw that Garrett and Becca, they had a one-on-one bobsledding. I thought that their one-on-one was pretty good. You can see that Becca, she's very smitten with Garrett. She like a schoolgirl crush. Now that's where you can really see that they are going to probably get further, and I mean further into the show. Garrett seems like he's a very serious guy, a family man, a guy who is ready to settle down with Becca. And even though you can see during the conversation, Garrett brought up the fact that he had a divorce previously, and when he was 23, he was involved with this girl, and they got divorced after being married for 2 years. So that's definitely a red flag for Becca. And as Becca mentioned, it's very tough. Things are happening at a very accelerated rate on The Bachelorette and The Bachelor. It's one of those things where you have to reveal everything all at once. But see, Garrett was very open about it, even though Becca, she has some trepidation about the divorce, but divorce happens. And I think it's more important the fact that Becca, when she looks at Garrett, she looks at Garrett as really, really for her. She thinks that Garrett resembles her father who passed away. And even though some people say, oh, that's creepy, but studies show, psychology shows, that a lot of times women tend to go for a guy who resembles their father. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. As Becca mentioned, she's looking for a guy that is into traveling and being fun, showing the 50-50, and clearly Garrett brings that out. He gets Becca excited, and things seem to work out. So during their date, I thought they had a good date. I really did. It was fun to see them bobsledding. And more than anything, right now, I'd say right now, Garrett has got to be the front runner. No doubt about it. He's the front runner of all the guys, even though I do think that Blake, I'm more of a fan of Garrett. Blake is another guy who's in that conversation. He's probably second tier for me, but Garrett's number one. Blake is second tier because, as he mentioned during the episode, he did bring up the fact that he brought up the kids, the conversation of kids. Becca said she's looking for 2 to 3 kids, and then Blake said, "Oh, I'm looking for like 3 to 5 kids." I mean, that scared Becca a little bit. It's like, hold the phone a little bit. But at least Blake is upfront with his intentions. All Becca's looking for is honesty. That's it. Just honesty. Someone who's ready to settle down. That's, to me, what it comes down to. And you saw with Garrett, I think that also what makes Garrett another good guy for Becca is the fact that he seems to have stability. He seems at a point in his life where he's confident. He's medical sales rep, so he's got the stability for sure. And I believe that long run they're going to be together. But anyways, let's get into the group date. 13 guys, largest group date so far. The lumberjack date. They went through a series of lumberjack activities. Obviously, Wills was one of the guys that got saved from that because he's going to be going on the one-on-one date. But the rest of the guys, including Lincoln, and yes, Lincoln was one of those guys that mentioned about how the earth is flat. And that's been going on a lot lately. A lot of people have this idea that the earth is flat. And maybe there might be a theorist out there who can provide some empirical proof that the earth is flat. That's been going on. I know, since I'm a sports guy, NBA superstar Kyrie Irving, he brought up the fact that he thinks the earth is flat. So who knows? Lincoln said, oh, I can tell with friction. Who knows? He may be right. I personally think the earth is flat, but it's always good for debate. So in this lumberjack date, you can see that guys like Colton, Leo, John did very well. They're athletic, require some strength. You can see that Colton's got some strength, obviously from his football background, being a tight end. So he had no problem getting the axe, putting the axe to the wood, being the axe man. And I'm really surprised that Jordan did so well on this. I thought Jordan was going to struggle heavily being such a pretty boy. But he did pretty solid. Lincoln, once again, you can see Lincoln's not the most athletic guy. But it came down to, it was basically the blue team versus the red team. Blue team ultimately won. And John ultimately got the golden axe for his team. And I thought it was a pretty solid outdoorsy type date. Becca comes from Minnesota, so I could see that she's looking for that type of guy who's outdoorsy and wants to, he's not afraid to get his hands dirty. Obviously, that's not Jordan, but that's what Becca's looking for. So aside from that, Becca started to have some alone time with some of the guys. One guy I noticed was Jason, and I just don't trust Jason. Jason, he just comes off as like a playboy. He's got his hair slicked back. He's got that Tom Cruise smile. He just always says the right things. He just comes off as someone who's really smooth and is just trying to woo Becca, knock her off her feet, but not necessarily settle down and get married to her. And I think Becca needs to watch out for that guy. She really does. It's not that Jason's a bad guy. I just think that he still has some of that player mentality left in him. He's not necessarily ready to settle down with Becca. And as Becca said, he kisses so right and he's so perfect and I like him. But that's what I'm saying. I just don't think that Jason is right for her, just from what I'm seeing. And I mean, you saw him. I'm looking at my notes. He made like that one cheesy pickup line about, "Oh, your smile lights up the room." How creative, Jason. I wonder how many girls used that on before. So I just don't think that Jason is necessarily the relationship type for Becca. And speaking of guys who are Playboy types, is Colton. Colton's another one. Colton and Becca had some alone time. They were talking, and Becca went to ask Colton about, "Oh, well, have you ever been in love?" And Colton was like, "Yeah, I've been in love." Like, he hesitated for a second. Now, see, if he was really in love before, he would not have hesitated, but he still hesitated on the question. So I don't really know how genuine he is being. But, Becca's obviously attracted to him, so they had a kiss. Ultimately, I think that Jordan's the type of guy that you don't necessarily look at him as a relationship status right now. He's more that type of person that is still playing the field, still getting his feet wet, still trying to get his feet wet in the serious relationship pool. And I just don't think he's there yet. The fact that he had a little trice. I don't want to say it was a trice, but a little relationship with Tia, and that he was a former tight end in the NFL. He's only 26 years old. I don't think that he's really ready to settle down. So he's in that same boat as I put with Jason. So after that, you saw the conversation. Chris and Colton were talking about Jordan, telling how Colton's getting fed up with Jordan and all of his shenanigans, the gold tights, and how he is a clown. And he ain't confronted Jordan about that. And he's like, oh, Jordan, you're such a clown. All you do is do this with the gold tights. You're not here for the right reasons. And then Jordan got all tough. It's so funny when Jordan gets all excited. Like, he got so upset. Just, ladies and gentlemen, just remember this. Don't ever call Jordan bro. When Cole started calling Jordan bro, he flipped out. He threw a tantrum. He got his gold pants shorts in a knot over that. So just remember that. It's one of those things that don't call Jordan bro. And honestly, if Jordan's not here for the right reasons, that's for Becca to find out. That's not for the other guys to find out. I never understood that about when this happens and the Bachelorette, the Bachelor, how all these contestants go ahead and tell the Bachelor or the Bachelorette, oh, they're not here for the right reasons. Let them find out they're here for the right reasons. It will show up. And to be honest with you, Becca's not even that interested in Jordan. She just keeps Jordan around for entertainment, if you will. Even when Jordan and Becca had one-on-one time, he put on the golden shorts that Becca gave him. And he went to give Becca a kiss, and Becca, pushed him out the way. She pushed him out the way. She's not even remotely interested in the guy. She just did it because he's funny. He's a funny guy. He adds entertainment value to the show. So, the thing is, I think you should keep Jordan around for that reason alone. Why not? But after that, and actually before that, you saw what happened when John Blanc and Becca had one-on-one time, and John Blanc, he just realized that he's losing momentum, so he's doing whatever he can, by any means necessary, to get Becca's attention, to get Becca back on his side, but he's just trying too hard. It's pretty obvious, he's trying too hard. And even after the first time he spent time with Becca, he brought it up, they're losing momentum, and you can see that even then, Becca was letting him know, yes, we're not necessarily where we once were, and the whole idea that, he's starting to have strong feelings for her, and Becca just wasn't at that point yet. So then he decides to interrupt the Lincoln conversation, Lincoln and Becca, and then talks to Becca again about it. Again, and this time around, because the first attempt didn't work, he tells her, well, I'm starting to fall in love with you. And he should have got the idea. I mean, he is a cologne connoisseur, if that's even a word. Let's say cologne connoisseur, okay? And I wouldn't even say that because obviously you have to taste it. But anyways, that's not the point. Let's not get the semantics of connoisseur, cologne-noisseur, whatever. The point I'm making is this, is that the fact that even when he gave Becca that cologne bottle, that custom-made cologne bottle that had, as he mentioned, hyphenated Blanc, they had Becca Blanc, because Becca wants her name hyphenated, her last name hyphenated. She wants to be 50-50. Still, if that didn't work, that present alone didn't work. That was a custom-made present for Becca, and she did not get into that. She did not take that very well. That should have been enough. It just, things were moving too fast. John Blanc just didn't pick up the vibes that she wasn't there yet. If he would have just allowed things to marinate a little bit and gradually get himself back into good graces with Becca, then maybe it would have worked out. But he just said too much. I'm falling in love with you. And then Becca had to send him home. Becca had to send John Blanc home. And then for him, after he got sent home, and then he goes ahead and says, well, I didn't really mean that. And what, the cologne wasn't good enough for you, or the perfume was not good enough for you? It's just, after that, then he said, oh, I didn't really mean it. I just thought it was what you wanted to hear. Man, enough is enough. John Blanc just kept on digging a bigger and bigger and bigger hole for himself. and he just didn't get the picture. And I get it. We're all in those situations. At times, my gender, we can be oblivious to different signs, but the sign was obvious. She was giving him the liberty to go home on good terms and end it, rather than go to an additional rose ceremony and get turned down. And he pissed Becca off. Becca was pissed off. She was pissed off after he did that. She went back, telling the guys that, okay, I'm done with this right now. We're not. There is no rose right now. That's it. And the little cocktail party was over. And after what Ari put Becca through, I can understand where Becca is coming from, but I really felt bad for Wills, because Wills had to go on a one-on-one date with Becca, thinking about John Blanc and what John Blanc did to Becca, so she couldn't really clear her mind and fully think about what the date that she was having with Wills. However, they still had a good date. They went on their motorcycle, snow speeders, or whatever you want to call them. You guys tell me in the comments what they're called. And they had a pretty good date. However, when I see the two of them, even though the romance is there, and they have some intimacy. You saw the intimacy where Becca was resting her head on Wills' shoulder, and Wills gave her the forehead kiss, the most intimate kiss. Into a kiss. You can see they have romance, but I still think that Becca, the way how she rested her head on Will's shoulder, she just looks at Wills as like a big brother or a friend that you just happen to kiss. And I don't think that they're really at that relationship type level where they can get married at the end of this. And I'm a big fan of Wills. I'm rooting for Wills. It's just, I think Wills needs to get more of the personality of who he is, the graphic designer, out. Because he's a graphic designer, so he has a creative side to him. He just needs to stop being so reserved. As Becca mentioned, of all the guys, Becca gave him a rose, but out of all the guys, Becca mentioned that he's the most reserved guy. So I think that does not necessarily bode well for what Becca's looking for. And I thought it also was pretty funny, sad but funny at the same time. I didn't quite understand it when Wills talked about his ex and how his ex wanted to give him a hall pass. And I was like, hall pass? Like, I know in elementary school we had hall passes, but I never knew that what exactly the type of hall pass they were talking about. And I guess the hall pass, it gives you the liberty to be in a relationship and to have sexual relations with someone at the same time. And that's what happened with his ex. And Will showed, the ability to talk about that. It was probably a tough conversation to have for why he broke up with his ex-girlfriend. But Becca understood, and it's one of those, it really is one of those mind-boggling conundrums that someone came up with the idea of a hall pass. Like, open relationship, that's like a whole nother conversation for another day, but there's no point in having an open relationship. If you don't want to be with the person, you don't be with the person anymore. No hall passes. So at least Wills is able to get that out the way. And Wills, I think that at times he doesn't really come off as someone who's very confident in who he is. As he mentioned, he's very hard on himself. He gives himself a tough time. But Becca she's looking for marriage. She needs someone who fully loves themselves. Not someone who's going to complete her. This is not Jerry Maguire, Renee Zellweger, Tom Cruise. No.
You complete me.
She needs someone who loves himself. And that's it. She's looking for that 50-50, that yin to your yang, that Luke to your Leia. Oh yeah, that's right, they're brother and sister. That Ross to your Rachel. Yes, that's what she is looking for. And I'm not talking about we are on a break, Ross and Rachel.
Was what you needed just to gain a little perspective.
We were on a break! I'm talking about last episode, last scene of Friends, season 10, Ross and Rachel. Okay? So, aside from that, Wells, God, I always get them confused. Wells, yes, I'm not talking about Wells from prior seasons. Wells got a rose. So far it's working out. And let's transition over to the fact that there was no cocktail party. No cocktail party. Becca already made her mind up. And I just can't imagine what that is like when you know you need more time with Becca and there's no cocktail party. I mean, that's like being a kid. You eat your greens and your parents tell you, no dessert. That's gotta be a killer. No dessert, no cocktail party. And you saw the cocktail party, Becca made her, at the end of, with no cocktail party, rose ceremony, Becca made her mind up very quickly. She said that she sent Kriston home, she sent Nick home, and that's what you get, Nick, for wearing a track suit at the first rose ceremony. You could at least put yourself a decent suit. That was it. Kriston and Becca, I think they were more so friends. You can see they didn't really have any romantic chemistry whatsoever. At least we didn't see that on camera. So, decent guys, but they had to get sent home. And I think the best part, my favorite part of this episode really was when Chris had the great quote and he said, Becca's not playing around. There's no cocktail party. Becca's not playing around. There's no more gold pant booty shorts, and there's no more saying I love you, not really meaning it. And he's absolutely right. Great quote. No more of that. And these guys, they need to take it very serious. Whether they get one-on-one dates, group dates, they need to take it serious. They need to take every opportunity they can get with Becca and not play around. Like even on the lumberjack date, even though I thought during the lumberjack date, I do want to go back to that very quickly. I thought it was hilarious how John was holding hands with Becca, and in the next camera shot, they weren't holding hands. And then you saw Connor, he wanted to give Becca a kiss during the group date. And I just think that there's just it's the Bachelor rules, the Bachelorette rules. Even though every guy thinks that Becca is their girlfriend, you don't go ahead kissing Becca or holding hands with Becca or telling Becca that she's your girlfriend in front of the other guys. That's just Bachelor code. That's Bachelorette code. They should have like a rule book on what you can do and what you can't do. I mean, I'm sure Ray is one of those. They should have one of those of what you can't do during the group dates. So you see, next episode, they're going to be in Vegas. Circus, the strip. And we can see it's brewing. That's going to be a 2-on-1. David and Jordan. And Jordan seems to have this idea that he's not going to be Captain Underpants anymore. He's going to be Captain Steal Your Girl. And for Jordan to have the gall to say that, first of all, he needs to at least get a kiss. A real kiss. Not a push-off kiss. A kiss with Becca before he can use that line, Mr. Steal Your Girl. But thank you for watching my episode. My recap on the Bachelor episode. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thumbs up, subscribe, leave comments whether you think I need to change my wardrobe attire, change my pocket square, my lapel pin, my suit, whatever you think I need to change. Let me know. I know I sound like Jordan right there. But thank you for staying tuned with my recaps. And remember, I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear, but what you need to hear.